7 at 283, and then the Chad Green driven Bond Coat Boxo Tools Summit Racing Equipment Mustang across the racetrack. Green a 398 at 314. They made a full pull. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah. So I mean, for them, they can only improve. They can take that information and they can open up some flows. If the power of the engine wasn't that great, they could try to increase the power several ways. They could put more compression, spin the blower faster, depending on where they think they can improve. But you look at the performance of Dave Richards, only 283 miles per hour. That's an indication that they were one of those many cars that started to spin the tires on that new asphalt near the finish line.
That is Joe Serena, who works with Dean Marinas tuning this car. Understands some potentially big plans in the works for that team next season. Keep you updated on that situation as we learn more about it. And Green will sprint down to the finish line stripe. A 387.6 for Chad Green. Hello, and you can look at the two of them. Wow.
Did you see that? That just goes to show you can see the difference between a car that is just set up to go down the track and a car that is set up to make power, to move the clutch, to get the clutch out of the way, to accelerate the car. For Chad Green, a big improvement.
And for Chad Green, that is close to a career best. Dale Creasy, left-hand side of your screen, the Tech Pack Dodge. And how about Chad Green, the Bond Coat Ford Mustang that showed us yesterday that these guys can find the 380s. They went 87.
We almost see the sun starting to poke through a little bit, but it's not intense. It's not going to heat up. And if you lose traction on this kind of racetrack with Austin Prock just running a 381, you have no excuse for Chad Green. I don't think this is a layup run. I think they still have to be smart and race smart and perform well.
Creasy smokes the tires early. Chad Green's car begins to spin the tires late, and he pops the engine, and that thing is on fire big time. It might have exploded the fuel tank, Tony, as he is dragging this car to a stop in a big fire.
Yeah, and there's a good chance there's oil that's burning underneath the car as well. I don't know if the fuel tank exploded, but for Chad Green, there's an onboard fire system. I'm sure that he's pulled that on the brake handle. But all that smoke inhalation, you have supplied air, but as a driver, when you're inhaling that, you want to get out of the car as quick as you can.
And Chad, you can see, is a big guy, and he got out of there right quick. The flame picked up very significantly there. The car was spinning the tires across the back half of the racetrack. You can see Chad get ready to throw his fire gloves.
Yeah, it starts with the car spinning the tires, and you can see the smoke. That is the reason that the raw fuel is coming out of the exhaust. However, he's black tracking. You can see the tire print that it's leaving. And he's staying on the throttle, cylinders out. He does not know where his opponent's at. And there's the parachutes, and the damage is going to start, and it's manifested itself into much worse conditions right here. But as he gets to that finish line and lifts off the throttle, the damage already done, and more than likely the connecting rods coming out of the side of the engine block.
Wow. Yeah, that fire, and it picked up big time as the car slowed down. You can see it now kind of licking out around the front wheels. Up in front, the nose of the car there, and there's Chad's reaction. Wow. Amanda Busick caught up with Chad once he got his helmet off outside of the racetrack.
Chad Green has been medically cleared, was up at here on the track saying that he's just hot and sweaty, and asked if he had won that round as drag racers do. What warning did your race car give you?
It gave me no warning. It's just trucking on through there. We was on seemed like a pretty decent run, and then it just everything went kaplooey. So yeah, real sad about that. This is gonna be some work. Good thing we was early in the round, so give us a little extra time. But yeah, we're gonna get this thing back, probably get our backup car out, and see if we can keep going.
You'll be good for round two.
Oh yeah, we'll be really good.
This week's That's a Repair for Pep Boys, and it is a literal repair because his crew now will be diving into what remains of this car, and as he said, likely bringing out the backup car. As the flambe kicked off just past the 1,000-foot mark, we got a bunch of funny cars yet to run. Things are already halfway out of control here in St. Louis. Already motioned him forward, and they're shutting the car off.
Yeah, you can't hold up your opponent that long. I don't know if they can detect any leak or anything physically they can see on the car, but they're apparently having some issues. and the starter recognized that.
Blake Alexander will hustle his Pronto Auto Service Ford down to a 388.9. The job for the day will continue for Austin Prock. His team now back doing their service as they tow that car toward the pit area. We have Chad Green and Blake Alexander on the starting line. More on Chad Green, whose team has had its own thrash already today.
Yeah, he did, Brian. This team came into the lanes hot with Chad strapped into the car and his helmet on. He said the crew guys told him there was no problem with the turnaround, though, because by the time they got the old car back, the backup car was out with an engine in it and the clutch in the car. So it wasn't a matter of getting it turned around in time because they knew what to do and they had that backup car ready to go. So for them, they got a chance to breathe here with Austin Prock's blow up. They should be ready.
The body's still up on that race car. The starter is going to signal them. They've already motioned him forward and they're shutting the car off.
Yeah, you can't hold up your opponent that long. I don't know if they can detect any leak or anything physically they can see on the car, but they're apparently having some issues, and the starter recognized that.
Blake Alexander will hustle his Pronto Auto Service Ford down to a 388.9. Every single winner in this round went 388, 88.4, 88.7, 88.4, and 88.9. It's freaky, man. That's freaky.
It's almost fitting. You run a 388, you are locked into the semifinal. And for Blake Alexander, a good running car over the last several races, and they have earned their spot.